You're listening to Otto D, coming at you live.
Yes, which way, what, when, how? Mr. Otto D, flip the track right now.
Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in on this absolutely gorgeous Monday evening here in Scottsdale, Arizona. I am your host, Otto Daniolo, broadcasting live from the Star Worldwide Network studios, high above Camelback Road. It's March 27th already, and unlike last week, the temperature is actually very mild. For a second there, I thought we were going to have a screaming race right into a hot spring, 95 degrees on the last day of winter here in Scottsdale, but it's a lot more comfortable today, refreshing, and I'm looking forward to spring as it continues here, and baseball season in the local area is over. This evening, I want to introduce you to a lovely and talented singer out of Beverly Hills, Maggy Simon, who's going to be on with us right after this first song that is a song she referenced as an inspiration from her early days, and it is called The Trolley Song from the movie Meet Me in St. Louis, featuring a Judy Garland when she was just 22 years old. Check this out.
The trolley, ding, ding, ding went the bell. Sing, sing, sing went my heartstrings as we started for Huntington. Chug, chug, chug went the motor. Thump, thump, thump went the brake. Thump, thump, thump went my heartstrings as we glided by Huntington Lake. The day was bright, the air was sweet. The smell of honeysuckle charmed me off my feet. I tried to sing, but couldn't squeak. In fact, I felt so good I couldn't even speak. Buzz, buzz, buzz went the buzzer. Time to all this and more. Time to fall went my heartstrings as we got off at Huntington Park. Yes, we got off at Huntington Park. My high starch collar and my high top shoes and my hair piled high up on my head, I went to lose a jolly hour on the trolley and lost my heart instead. With his light brown derby and his bright green tie, he was quite the handsomest of men. I started to yen, so I counted to 10, then I counted to 10 again. Clang, clang, clang went the trolley. Ding, ding, ding went the bell. Zing, zing, zing went my heartstrings. From the moment I saw him, I fell. Chug, chug, chug went the motor. Bump, bump, bump went the brake. Thump, thump, thump went my heartstrings. When he smiled, I could feel the car shake. He tipped his hat and took a seat. He said he hoped he hadn't stepped upon my feet. He asked my name, I held my breath. I couldn't speak because he scared me half to death. Chug, chug, chug went the motor. Plop, plop, plop went the wheels. Stop, stop, stop went my heartstrings. As he started to go, then I started to know how it feels when the universe reels. The day was bright, the air was sweet. The smell of honeysuckle charmed you off your feet. You tried to sing, but couldn't squeak. In fact, you loved him, so you couldn't even speak. Buzz, buzz, buzz went the buzzer. Plop, plop, plop went the wheels. Stop, stop, stop went my heartstrings. As he started to leave, I took hold of his sleeve with my hand, and as if it were planned, he stayed on with me, and it was grand just to stand with his hand holding mine to the end of the
You're listening to Otto D, coming at you live.
And that was the trolley song from the movie Meet Me in St. Louis with Judy Garland singing lead at 22 years old. And what a song. I remember when they colorized that movie and put it back out on the circuit. And it was just a blast to see in the big theater. What an inspiration. And this evening I'd like to introduce to you my guest, Ms. Maggy Simon. Maggie, how are you doing?
Hi, Otto. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks so much for coming on the show with me.
Oh, you're so welcome.
Did that track bring back some memories for you? Mm-hmm.
Oh, my goodness. It was like my introduction to show music. That was from Meet Me in St. Louis.
I remember the film. I saw it in the 80s, actually, when they redistributed the new colored prints, and they were going around some of the old ornate theaters and showing it again. It was fantastic to see in the big theater.
That's when I caught it, and I thought Judy Garland was so incredible. I think that her influence on my music has been lifelong.
Mm-hmm. And so you've been singing probably your whole life.
I have, but I haven't been performing. But I was the kid with the loudest and biggest voice in the school choir.
Mm-hmm.
So I was always singled out to do a lead here and there.
Mm-hmm.
But nobody ever told me it was anything remarkable or even good. It was just more or less taken for granted by everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought it was normal. It didn't occur to me as anything special.
Well, it's interesting that you've kind of come to your singing career on a professional level a little later in life, and that's fascinating to me and with what you've already done. But before we dive into that, let's go back to when you were little. Where were you born?
I was born in Los Angeles.
Okay.
And raised in a suburb called San Marino.
Mm-hmm.
And attended the schools in San Marino where they had fantastic arts programs, especially in music and drama.
Yeah, that had to be wonderful. Do you have a bunch of brothers and sisters in the house as well, or?
Not a bunch. Just I have one sister, and it was she and me against the world.
Okay. And then was there any other music in the family? I mean, were your folks involved in music at all?
Well, they were highly, shall I say, music appreciators. There was music in the house. I heard a lot of opera.
Mm-hmm.
I heard a lot of operetta tunes. I heard a lot of the popular standards of the day. So I just I think I absorbed it by osmosis.
Mm-hmm. And then did you get involved in some of the school projects and choir and stuff singing?
Yes, I was in the choir, and I was usually the lead soprano. And then I got involved in a lot of the drama, the plays, and I was usually one of the leads in the school plays.
Do you remember?
I love the stage.
Yeah, well, I can understand that. What were some of the shows that you were in high school?
Oh, I can't remember.
Do you recall?
That. Oh my goodness, I can't remember that.
You know, I was in a play in school called Cheaper by the Dozen. I don't know if you'd remember the play.
I remember the book.
Yeah. It's just that's about the only one I can remember. I used to do a few of those as well. It was a lot of fun. And once you get on the stage and you have that response, if you're a performer, then you're done. You're sold. You're always going to be there.
That's right.
So then you kind of took a hiatus, I guess, after theater in school.
Well, I went on to college and graduated with a degree in foreign languages. My original ambition was to be a translator at the UN.
Okay.
And then a minor in English. And in the meantime, while I was in college, I was singing. On weekends, I'd drive in from the school to Beverly Hills and sing at your little club. And I had a fellow music major who played the piano who would accompany me, and he was my pianist, and I'd split the take of the evening with him. And I did that on weekends a lot because I just always loved to sing, and I was like every single song I'd ever heard was in my head and in my body and my soul, so I needed some expression, so it worked.
That's fascinating. It still surprises me that it took quite so long for you to kind of get into the studio and make a record. For example, your debut album was released, I believe, on March 1st of this year.
Correct.
Now, had you ever been in a recording studio before that? Had you done some other commercial work or anything?
No, but my husband said to me, let's go to Capitol Records into Studio A.
Well, that's
I'm
not a
sure
bad place to start.
Right, and the spirit of Frank Sinatra and Nat King Cole and Judy Garland and all the rest were with me.
You know, I think everybody aspires to one day work at Studio A at Capitol Records, and you're like, let's just start at the finish line. Let's go in there and
That's
do it.
right.
But that's, if you can, that's the way to do it. And when you can put yourself in the hands of incredible professionals, then it's always going to be okay, And it sounds like you hired some of the top players as well. So you want to tell me a little bit about that process?
Well, the process was fascinating because I prepared to do it live. I have the 6 band members who are my band. They're always out on gigs, so it's hard to get them all together.
Yeah.
So I had them together for 2 days in a row. That was September 1st and 2nd, this last fall, just a few months ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we had 2 days to record the 14 tracks you've heard.
Mm-hmm.
And as you've also seen, about 4 of them are specialty, tracks. They're special materials consisting of medleys and very tricky arrangements and segues.
Mm-hmm.
So I had done all of these in my prior shows. They all knew the music. I knew the music. So I think it was because of that we were able to actually go into that studio and in 2 8-hour back-to-back days recorded the whole thing.
That's just amazing.
And I did every song in no more than 2 takes with the band, and they were satisfied with them, and we'd move on.
Wow.
And in the end, the sound engineer and the musical director and my husband, the producer, and I sat and listened to all the tracks and picked the best ones, and you've got the album.
Mm-hmm. That's fascinating. Did you guys mix the record on those same 2 days?
No,
Okay.
that was done. Now, the mixing and the post-production of it took about 3 weeks afterwards,
Okay.
and then we were ready, actually, to go to market in December, but we thought it was an odd time because there hadn't been much lead time to really announce it on all my social media sites, where combined I have close to 60,000 fans. I know, it's amazing. And it's for them I made the record. They were the ones that kept asking me where's the CD? Where's the CD?
Well, I want to get into that. I'll make a note here to come back to that. But go on. You were talking about the mixing process, I think. And
Well,
you said
anyway,
you were ready by the 1st of the year, 1st of December.
We were ready. Yeah, we were ready. And then we had to do all the legal stuff. That takes about a month or so. But I have a fantastic attorney, and we got all the legal stuff out of the way, clearances, licensing, blah 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 blah, and we were ready to go.
Mm-hmm. And now,
So
and then at that point, you released this yourself. There's independently, correct?
Yeah, we did it on my husband's label. It's West Coast Music Management label, and it's a self-produced album.
And since we're talking about your husband, let's give me a little background on his experience in the music business.
Well, actually, his former wife is a well-known, award-winning musician herself, Leona Boyd from Canada.
Okay.
And he has been in on many recording sessions, and he knows exactly what it is and what to do and how to do it. So fortunately for that, he was able to use that to help me.
Great. So you're in good hands the whole time.
I certainly was.
Now,
And he's also a musician. He was a trombone player.
Oh, fantastic.
So he's the whole package. He's got the ear. He knows what's going on with the band, and he was able to really help the musical director keep them from overpowering me.
There you go. And his name is Jack, correct?
Jack Simon.
So do you guys, is Jack in your regular band as well when you perform?
Oh, no, he doesn't perform anymore. He
Okay.
just produces.
Okay. I wondered because, sometimes those personal/business relationships can get a little complicated sometimes. Need a little creative space, a little time on your own.
You're right.
But I would think on the record it had to be quite an exciting thing to have that opportunity to do that project together.
Oh, it was wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. And thanks to him, we got it in on time, under budget, and ready to go more quickly than I thought it would have been done.
So did you enjoy walking through the halls of Capitol Records looking at all those pictures?
Oh, my goodness. That first day, may I tell you, my knees were knocking as I walked down that hall and saw the studio and saw the beautiful photographs of all those wonderful singers,
Mm-hmm.
Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Judy Garland, Nat King Cole. Oh my goodness, I almost fell over.
I know, and to think, they were in these same rooms, making their records, and it's a pretty wild feeling, isn't it?
It was. I could feel the spirit of Judy with me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's fascinating. So do you have plans for your next record?
Well, I've been thinking about a theme, I
Mhm.
like to sort of think about what it is I'm going to do, what the theme is, and then get the songs together to coalesce around that theme.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got a few ideas in mind, like more Broadway than cabaret.
Mm-hmm.
I have a Christmas album I'd love to do with some really interesting songs
Mm-hmm.
that aren't heard every day.
Right.
And so there'll be more, but I'm just right now basking in this one. This was the very first one, and boy, did it wear me out.
Well, I would imagine, and I wanted to ask you too, one of the things that I know can wear you out, especially when you've waited so long to make your first record, you have your whole life worth of music you've listened to that you love to try to whittle down to the ones you're going to do for your debut record. And I know some artists I've worked with have a real hard time with that song selection process, especially on the first record. Was that a real trial for you? Did you have lots of numbers you wanted to do that you didn't get to work on, or?
Well, actually, I did, but I left it to my Facebook fans and my Twitter fans.
Awesome.
I went through a scientific process since they were the ones saying, how about a CD? Because we kept putting up these 30-second snippets, from my shows, right?
Right.
And so they'd say, how about CDs? When are you getting out a CD? So finally, after 2 years, with my fans nagging me, I rated all the clips and the songs they liked according to the number of likes.
Mm-hmm.
And I took it from, down to 25, down to 20, down to 15, and so 14 of them made the cut. And we just rated them by the likes, because that's the only way I could divorce myself from it, because, Otto, I love them all. I love them all.
Oh, I hear you. It's such a difficult process to go through. But what's interesting is that, again, do you mind if I mention your age or ask you your age?
Sure.
Okay, then share with us your age, just so we know.
I'm in my 50s.
Okay. Now, most people our age, let's say,
Yes.
they don't think of social media as something to lean on, and certainly not something to survey. They tend to think of it as something to distribute to. When I have something to
Right.
say, I'll send it out on my channels. They don't pay much attention. And the thought that when it came to your song selection process, you relied on your social media followers to create your song list, I think is a lesson for an awful lot of people to learn. To me, that's fascinating. And then to have that following as well, you must be pretty active. For people our age, you're an active social media person.
Yes, very much. I have a marvelous social media director in her 20s, of course.
Awesome.
Because this is their thing.
Yeah.
And she does it all. I mean, she does all the posting. She created the YouTube channel and all the video clips and the radio interviews, and the show reels are up there. So it's like a whole anthology on social media amongst the YouTube and the Twitter and
Isn't
the
it amazing?
Facebook pages. And the fans just, for some reason, it's amazing, because I look at the Insight page and the age groups, and in our group, that of course is my biggest following, but then the second biggest following are the millennials.
Interesting.
And they're, it's amazing to see it, because they're I think they're gravitating back to melodic music. They've maybe never heard structured music before.
Yeah, well, certainly in popular music in the last 20 years, melody has been an afterthought and not something leaned on. And back in the day, melody is how it started. I mean, I remember hearing in an interview once with Quincy Jones, when someone told him they had a hit song, he said, "Come over to the piano." And then he said, "Play it with one finger. I'll tell you if you have a hit song." And he was an icon. And that shows you how much melody mattered just right from the get-go to him. And it's like, if you don't have that, then we're not ready to start. And it really has been absent in a lot of pop styles for a number of years. So you might be right. They're just finding melody and that stuff is kind of exciting for them.
I think so. And now you've heard La La Land, right? Have you heard City of Lights? I'm sure.
Yeah.
It was up for an Academy Award. I think it got the Song of the Year, didn't it?
You know what? I have a list here. I don't recall.
But
There's
anyway,
so much going on.
that is so melodic, Otto. I mean, it's so beautiful. There's a brand new song I'm going to learn. I mean, it's fabulous.
Well, I'm a huge fan of melody, and as a record producer, I always loved winding the other instruments around the melody. If the melody wasn't doing a lot, you can really make the melody more interesting with the arrangement if you need to. But and most recently, I've been out sitting here with people singing Dean Martin songs, and it's like, man, it's so much fun to go back and hear that stuff and perform it. You know,
it is.
And to hear those recordings, like "Kick in the Head," the big band, I believe that was cut at Capitol. You know, just amazing stuff. You know,
and they were done in Studio A where I was.
I know. You lucky dog, you. I have not
How
recorded
great is
there.
that?
I have been there. I've taken clients there. I've mastered records there, but I've never performed as an artist there. I've never recorded anything of my own there. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned your YouTube channel, too. So tell me a little bit about that. How many videos do you have up?
There are about 65 or 66 videos up. I've done 7 shows in the last 4 years at the Catalina Jazz Club, and I do a kind of, it's not cabaret, it has a Broadway sensibility. I have 2 acts. I divide it up into 2 acts. Each number is staged and choreographed because I do sing and dance while I perform the song. While I don't just stand at the microphone and do it. I move and I work the stage and I dance, and I've got the 4-inch heels on with the glitter dresses. And it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and it's a show. And
so my fans picked up on that.
I think that's awesome. So if somebody wants to go to your YouTube channel, how do they find it? What's the name?
You just Maggy, Maggy Simon, Simon.
Okay.
Type it in, and it will take you right to a headshot. And you click on the headshot, and then you're on my home page.
Perfect.
And it's wonderful.
Now, gosh, I just had a thought, and it went away as fast as it came. But I have a bunch of other thoughts as well, so I can bank on those. I wondered if you've gotten into songwriting at all.
No, that's not something I've ever done.
Okay. I thought maybe more as a singer you weren't really thinking in terms of writing, but I just wondered if that was coming in the future for you or not. No aspirations as a writer?
I've never had that, really. I just, I sing the songs and collaborate with my musical director, who's wonderful with the arranging, to come up with a new twist on old material. And it just, that to me is the magical process.
It really is. And on this debut album, which is titled Yesterday Once More, you have songs from the Carpenters to Frank Sinatra. So what was your theme to tie these together?
Well, I thought Yesterday Once More really tied in all the songs that have coalesced around that, because all of these songs are from yesterday, but they've all been rearranged. So it's Yesterday Once More when you hear the album, but with new arrangements you've never heard before.
Correct. Great. Well, I'd like to play a song, and I thought we might start with Nice and Easy.
Okay.
And, can you tell me, maybe mention some of the guys that are on the record?
Well, the band, you've got Tom Greep on piano, Bart Samolis on the bass, M.B. Gordy on drums, Jeff Nudell on the woodwinds, Bob O'Donnell on trumpet, and Bob McChesney on trombone.
Pretty good-sized band. And everybody, when we hear this record, everybody's playing all at once. It's the old school way, right?
I think it is. It's not as brassy as the old school.
Right.
But you'll hear for yourself.
Okay, well, let's take a quick listen to one of the songs off of Yesterday Once More from Maggy Simon's debut album that you can find. I imagine it's available on iTunes and everywhere else these days, right?
It's available everywhere. CD Baby, Amazon. Oh, by the way, it's got 5-star review on Amazon, the album.
Oh, fantastic.
iTunes, Google Play, even on Target with another 5-star review.
Awesome. That's fantastic.
Can you believe that?
I can
YouTube
believe
music?
it. I think it's great.
Yeah.
All right, so let's take a quick listen, and then we'll be right back. This is Nice and Easy.
Thank you.
Let's take it nice and easy. It gonna be so easy for us to fall in love. Hey, baby, what's your hurry? Relax and don't you worry. We're gonna fall in love. We're on the road to romance, that's safe to say. But let's make all the stops along the way. The problem now, of course, is to simply hold your horses. To rush it now would be a crime. Nice and easy does it every time. Along the way, the problem now, of course, is to simply hold your horses. To rush it now would be a crime. 'Cause nice and easy does it. Nice and easy does it. Nice and easy does it every time.
And that's Nice and Easy from Maggy Simon and her new debut album, actually, called Yesterday Once Again. Oops, I'm not looking at the paperwork here. Let's make sure I got that name right. Yesterday Once More. Great song. The band sounds
Thank you.
fantastic. And I
Yeah,
love
they
your
sound twice their number, huh?
Yeah, and I love your vocal.
Thank you.
So do you have another show coming up?
I will have when I do what they call a CD release out here.
Mm-hmm.
I'll plan a CD release party at the Catalina Jazz Club. And, of course, there's singing and singing, a little difference between standing in a recording booth in front of a microphone with the band and performing the songs.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll be performing the album later in the year. I haven't set the date yet, but it will be coming up.
Okay, and is that also going to be planned at Catalina Jazz Club?
Oh, yes. It's one of the best, it's the premier place in L.A. to put on a show because they have a wonderful ambiance, good food, fine dining, and a fabulous stage where the band can fit, and so can I.
Mm-hmm. And when was you say you've done 7 shows and they've all been there, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have any plans to take the show out of L.A. or off of that stage?
At some point I will, but it's a little tricky with my life. You know, when you're married, you have to kind of plan it around your life.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm still juggling a lot, as you can imagine.
Mm-hmm.
But having been in one place, I think we've accomplished a lot.
Yeah, you have. And speaking of your life, you mentioned that you are married now. I believe you were married before as well?
I was married for a very long time.
Okay. Can we talk a little bit about your life prior to Jack and the music business? I mean, where were you all that time, Maggie?
Where was I? After I graduated from college, I went to work.
Mm-hmm.
I met my first husband, actually, when I was doing my show at your little club in Beverly Hills.
Mm-hmm.
I told you I used to come up on weekends, and
Right.
I had a piano player, and it was just me and the piano player. That's all that fit in that tiny little stage.
Mm-hmm.
And I met him there, and he staged an act for me, and I was meant to go on the road with that.
Mm-hmm.
But I fell in love with him, and we got married very shortly thereafter.
Mm-hmm.
And his 2 children from his first marriage, who were little babies, they were like 2 and 3, they came to live with us shortly thereafter.
Mm-hmm.
So I was all involved in a new young marriage.
I was going to say you had your hands
two
full.
children, and we had quite a lot. So I went to work at Universal Studios for Jennings Lang in the feature film division.
Okay.
And I started as a story analyst,
Fascinating.
hearkening back to my minor in college, English lit.
Mm-hmm.
So I read and analyzed material and gave my 2 cents worth about it.
Mm-hmm.
And ended up in feature film production and finally running their facilities rental division when I was like in my late 20s.
Wow.
So that's what I was doing there. And then in the 80s, I went into business for myself and started a business management practice.
Mm-hmm.
And I did that for a number of years. And then, tragically, out of the blue, he died of cancer.
Oh, my
He
goodness.
was diagnosed very quickly and was gone in 10 months.
Holy cow.
And I was in an absolute state of shock.
Oh, no doubt.
Really. And so we had just done my breakout show. He had produced it for me, my first husband,
Mm-hmm.
at the Catalina Club. This was back in 2005. And the show was it was very well received, and I was on my way to Seattle, where he had me booked next, and that's shortly thereafter he was diagnosed, and we went into treatment mode to try and save his life. But sadly, he got his wings 10 months later, and I didn't start singing again for another 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And that was after I met Jack.
Mm-hmm.
And I was singing at a party. I got up and sang something at a party, and he heard me, and he said, "Oh, my goodness, why aren't you doing your singing?"
Yeah.
He said, "I know you told me you could sing, but I didn't know you could sing."
Right.
Right? They're singing and singing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then fast forward, about 2009, I was married again to Jack, about 23 months after John died.
Mm-hmm.
And here I am. And I think it's just a matter of, if you've got something in your heart and your soul, for me it's my music.
Mm-hmm.
It's gotten me through every tough spot in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And if anything, this is a tribute to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I totally understand.
And no matter what you go through in life, if you just don't let go of your dream and you just keep it alive, somehow it comes out. And I'm happy to say, here it is.
That's fantastic. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about you were mentioning you were head of or involved in feature film when you were working at Universal.
Mm-hmm.
What were you doing in the film business besides reviewing storylines or scripts?
That was my entry-level position.
Right, but so
Otto. And then when I went into feature, I began, the producer, Jennings, began giving me more responsibility for the development of scripts and supervising the ones that were being finished and that had been green-lighted for movies.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I worked with him on 17 films in an 8-year period.
Wow.
That was a lot of work. Yeah, they churned them out. They churned them out.
That's a lot of, it is a lot of work.
It was a lot of work, but no less so than the 7 shows in 4 years
Oh,
I've
that's
just
true.
finished.
That's true.
I mean, think about that. That's live performing. That's real tough.
Yeah, it's very, very true. So any funny stories from your days at Universal, run into any crazy people? And
Well, I met Walter Matthau
Uh-huh.
and Jack Lemmon and Carol Burnett.
Uh-huh.
You remember her?
Oh, yeah.
And Julie Andrews.
Mhm.
We had we did a remake of Little Miss Marker in the late 70s.
Oh, neat.
And I met all of them then. And I think Walter Matthau was the funniest man. He just was a naturally funny man.
Yeah.
And he could just, walk into a room. I don't know how many of your listeners remember or know who Walter Matthau was.
Oh, most everybody should.
But everybody's heard, and you can Google and
That's
look
right.
at all his stuff. I love
know.
that Google. I love that Google. And he was hilarious just to look at. You could just look at him and start laughing.
Yeah, he could just look at the camera, and and that's all the punchline you needed,
He cracked me up when he did The Odd Couple.
Uh-huh.
And Jack Lemmon played the prissy part, and he played the awful part.
Mm-hmm.
And one time they were looking at something on the table, and Walter Matthau said, "Now, that's either a very green piece of cheese or a very old piece of meat."
Yeah.
I thought it was hilarious.
He was a card. It had to be fun to run into him. So then, as far as your shows go, have you had some interesting people come up to you from the audience? Have you had an opportunity to perform for some people like that you've admired?
Well, my biggest audience are my Center Theater Group people. The Performing Arts Center in Los Angeles is also known as the Music Center.
Mm-hmm.
And my husband and I are very active with the Center Theater Group. In fact, we're on the board.
Mm-hmm.
And our sole purpose our mission is to bring first-run Broadway films, Broadway plays to Los Angeles. And we also develop them to go to Broadway.
Mm-hmm.
So, for instance, Amelie, that we had here at the Amundsen Theater, has recently gone to Broadway,
Mm-hmm.
and it was developed here.
Awesome.
So we have that reciprocal back and forth, and I am a theater girl, even though I had a career, in the movies for about a decade. I love, love, love theater.
Mm-hmm.
I love the stage, the live performing. So we're very busy with that, and I have a big fan base with the Center Theater Group people.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
Isn't that wonderful?
So you probably end up, at some point, you probably end up on Broadway, won't you?
Oh, boy, I wish. Wouldn't that be fun? Well, I did end up on stage at the Amundsen a couple of years ago.
Well, what I'm thinking is you're going to be in a production there, and all of a sudden it's going to need to go.
Wouldn't that be wonderful? Well,
Stranger things have happened.
I had a walk-on in the Queen musical,
Uh-huh.
We Will Rock You.
Mm-hmm.
It was here at the Amundsen a couple of years ago.
Cool.
And there I was in my spandex outfit and my big red headdress. All those pictures, by the way, are on my website
Awesome.
in the gallery, and there are also some in the on the Facebook as well. But there I was in that crazy costume, and I was put into the number "We Are the Champions" because I knew the song.
Mm-hmm.
So the dance captain ran me through the moves, and bingo, I was up there.
That's wild.
So that was fun, looking at 2,200 people.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
I
And
loved it.
anytime, especially when it's live, it's just
Oh, yeah.
because anything can go wrong. And when it does, especially in theater, on a stage show where it's just your band playing, if something goes wrong, it's not, I don't know, it doesn't even feel wrong. It's just stuff happens. You're a band playing music. But when you're in a scripted story and something goes wrong, now you have to create a detour back to the story. You got to
right.
keep it going, and you got to think on your toes, and it makes the show different every night. So it's kind of exciting.
That's right. It is very exciting, and the feedback, every audience is different.
Mm-hmm.
And you can feel it, and they all react to different things on different nights.
Mm-hmm. Do you
So
do you remember your first? I imagine you've seen some shows on Broadway.
Oh, my goodness, yes.
Do you remember the first one you saw?
On Broadway?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. That's going back.
Well, I know. I'm going to tell you too. I was 16 actually, and I saw Oklahoma when it was on Broadway.
Did you?
And that was awesome. That was the first time I'd been to New York.
Well, I saw Peter Pan more
Okay.
recently with the gymnast, the
Mhm.
girl who played it.
Mm-hmm.
I love Peter Pan because I love the notion of flying.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a good one. But I love thoroughly Modern Millie
Mm-hmm.
with Sutton Foster. So I like the musicals.
Mm-hmm.
I really do. Anything musical, I'm in.
Cool. I saw Chicago at the Schubert Theater before they did the movie,
Oh?
and that was pretty exciting. Jennifer Holliday was the lead.
Oh,
That
boy.
was really exciting.
Yeah, I saw it on Broadway back in, the 90s
Mm-hmm.
when it got all the Tony Awards.
Yep.
And then Oklahoma, I had a remake on Broadway about that time also that I saw.
Cool. Very cool. Well, with all of your writing review, like script reviews, and when you were in the film office, and then all of your experience on stage, I don't see why you couldn't write your own play and make it. Jack can help you put this thing on Broadway, can he? Pull a couple strings, Jack. We can
Oh, my
we
goodness.
can get you on Broadway.
Well, stranger things could happen, couldn't they?
Yeah. They have, it's just a funny place. So now I have another question for you, though, about your future recording career as well. Is there a particular person that you look forward to duetting with? Is there someone you've always wanted to sing with on a record? Or have you even ever thought
I would
about
love to sing with Michael Feinstein.
that? Mm-hmm.
We haven't talked about my current favorite singers. And
Right.
he's like number one, Michael Feinstein.
Mm-hmm.
He's just marvelous. He's so melodic, and he's perfect pitch.
Mm-hmm.
And he sings the American Songbook. And if I could duet with him, oh my goodness, I would be the happiest person in the world.
Well, that's good to know. That's something we need to put on your little list for the next record. If there's room for a duet.
Oh, I've got a lot of things that I'm wishing for, but that would be a wonderful thing because I think our type of singing and our styles would blend very well.
Mm-hmm. And who are some of the other people today that you really admire?
Well, I like, as far as the women are concerned, country. I love Carrie Underwood.
Mm-hmm. Oh, she's great.
I think she's one of the most talented country artists I've ever heard. She started just about 12 years ago at American Idol.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a song in particular I adore that she does, I'll Stand By You.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yep. I love that. I liked Megan Hilty on Smash.
Yeah.
Remember her?
Uh-huh, I sure do. In fact, I hadn't seen that for a while and hadn't thought about her. So when you mentioned in an email that you enjoyed that, I had to pull it up on YouTube just to review, and it's like, oh my goodness,
Wasn't it good?
Yeah, you forget sometimes, how good
Yes.
some of this stuff was. Yeah, she's really,
and Michael
really great.
Bublé, of course. I just think he's wonderful.
I love his parts of his new record. Have you heard the new one that came out this last fall?
The brand new one? No, I haven't.
He did a
last fall I was recording my own.
That's true. He did a remake of a Beach Boys song, God Only Knows.
Oh, God, that's a wonderful song.
Oh, you should hear his version.
How's the harmony? Did they do the harmony on it?
No. No, but you really should listen to it. It's available on iTunes, but I think you'll really enjoy that. He did just an incredible job with it.
I'll bet he did.
But speaking of incredible jobs, let's go back and play another track off your record.
Oh, goody.
If you don't mind.
I don't mind. I'd love it.
Okay, so I was thinking we would listen to Two for the Road.
Okay.
And you have any thoughts on that or memory of that particular track?
Well, here's the thing. Two for the Road, a Henry Mancini song, was written for the movie of the same name, Two for the Road,
mm-hmm.
which starred Audrey Hepburn in 1967.
Mm-hmm.
And the song received a Golden Globe nomination for Best Original Score.
Okay.
And Mancini is like a musical treasure, an American treasure.
Yeah.
When you think of all the Moon River, he wrote that theme.
I know.
Breakfast at Tiffany's, he wrote that. And he also wrote my number one song in the world right now, as we speak, on Spotify, Le Jazz Hot,
mm-hmm.
which is also on the album.
Yeah.
And the lyrics were written for both songs by Leslie Bricusse.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great. Well, I was going to actually maybe play both of those if we have time, but I thought we'd start with listening to Two for the Road. So
okay.
Here is Two for the Road.
You'll hear
Go ahead.
Bob McChesney on the trombone is featured.
Oh, perfect. Very, very cool. So Two for the Road from Yesterday Once More, Maggy Simon's debut album, available everywhere, iTunes and Amazon and CD Baby and everywhere. So check it out.
Selecting souvenirs, and the living life the way we please. In summertime, the sun will shine. In winter, we'll drink summer wine. And every day that you are mine will be a lovely day. As long as love still wears a smile, I know that we'll be true for the road, and that's a long, long while.
You're listening to Otto D, coming at you live.
And that was Two for the Road from Maggy Simon's new debut album. I'm sitting here drinking water and reading my notes and can't even keep my tongue up. Wonderful, wonderful track, Maggie. It was really wonderful. And your vocal breath control in there and enunciation is just incredible.
Thank you.
Had to be fun playing with the band, too.
Oh, yeah.
So another tune that you mentioned was Le Jazz Hot.
Yes. On Spotify, which is the millennial thing, it's being streamed all over the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the number one song in 10 countries.
The number one song of all the songs?
Of all of them, it's Le Jazz Hot is number one, and the one you just heard is number two.
Awesome. Do you have a thought of where in the world you might like to play the most? If you took the show out of the country?
UK. I love the UK.
Uh-huh.
London, Ireland. Those are where a lot of my European Facebook fans are, and they write to me and send me comments and feedbacks about the video clips. So I love that area.
Interesting. I've never been to England, but I've been to Ireland once.
Beautiful places, huh?
I'm going to have to make it to London, I suppose.
Yes, you are. It's a wonderful place.
Well, I think that too, if you're getting a lot of response from that area, it would be an awful lot of fun to go do a show there.
It sure would.
So let's go ahead and listen to Le Jazz Hot.
All right. That's wonderful.
Here we go.
About 90 years ago, way down in New Orleans, a group of fellas found a new kind of music, and they decided to call it jazz. No other sound has what this music has. Before they knew it, it was whizzing round the world. The world was ready for a blue kind of music, and now they play it from Steamboat Springs to La Paz. Oh, baby, won't you play me the jazz hot, baby, and don't ever let it end. I'll tell your friends it's really something to hear. I can't sit still when there's that rhythm jazz hot.
There's an ending. I love that. Awesome. Wonderful song. Nice track.
Thank you.
So
Thank
that's
you so
Le
much.
Jazz Hot from Yesterday Once More, the debut album from Maggy Simon. And also I wanted to just give a little shout out or thanks to Carol Eisner for giving me a call and kind of getting this interview set up. I really appreciate that. She must be doing a lot of work for you as well.
Oh, she's wonderful.
I think that a lot of times you can be involved with a PR person who doesn't do anything but sit and take calls, but she seems like she's proactive and gets the job done.
Oh, she does. She's just great. And she's been to all my shows, and
It's
she believes
invaluable.
in my music. So it's wonderful.
Fantastic. So do you have any aspirations to be in film?
Well, it would be fun if something dropped into my lap the way the We Will Rock You thing did.
Uh-huh.
Sure, why not?
So you need a screenplay to come across your desk that has a part for a singer at the Catalina in the show.
Yeah.
And then you kind of get to do it all in one fell swoop without having to stray too far.
Otto D, from your mouth to my ears.
You know, we can make that happen. You know, my world is kind of backwards from yours in the sense that I spent 30 years as a record producer and then started playing again. Actually, I did start playing again as I was older. I kind of got off the stage in my 20s and got back out there about 4 or 5 years ago. But I just started getting into the film stuff, and I wrote my first screenplay and shot my first short film. And I have a dozen screenplays that I'm writing stories now, and it's like, where did this come from? I didn't used to do this, but it's my new kind of passion is playing with movies.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Is it-
That's wonderful.
I
I
think-
think we're kind of like on the same wavelength.
Yeah, and I think all the arts are that way. If you're creative, you know, you just do something, and then
Yes.
anytime something kind of draws your attention, you dive into that. So
That's right.
I don't see why we can't.
Absolutely
I can write that script for you. We can get you in that movie. We'll make
do
that
it.
happen.
In the meantime, let's get this album heard on the radio.
Absolutely,
That's
absolutely.
my aim, and this is so nice of you to have me on tonight. I'm very, very grateful.
Well, I'm happy to have you on, and great to hear your story. And appreciate you taking the time. I imagine you've got a lot to do out in Beverly Hills other than just hang out and sit at home on the phone talking to me, but
Well, it's been fun. I can't think of anything better I'd rather be doing right now.
fantastic. Well, this show will be posted on the website for people to listen to starting tomorrow morning, and it'll be downloadable from iTunes as a podcast. So you can share the link, and I'll share the direct link with you as well tomorrow, and feel free to spread it around for people.
Thank you, Otto D. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Maggie, for coming on. I look forward to record number 2 and spreading the word about record number 1.
All right. Thank you so much.
All righty. Have a great
I'll
night.
see you again.
Take-
Bye-bye.
Take care.